Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I know what's wrong with it. It's a Ford.
Hi people and hello my Chili Con Carnage crew, it's Chili here, the man who produces Iron From My Eyes, and I'm doing a 5-minute review on Post Malone's newest album, F-1 Trillion. When Post Malone tweeted back in 2015 that when he would turn 30, he would go country, we all had a laugh. The walking and talking Mr. Scribbles board was just about to successfully transition from metal to hip-hop with his breakthrough album Stoney, and would even work alongside other musicians such as Ozzy Osbourne on his solo album Ordinary Man in the future. But clearly you can take Post Malone out of Texas, but you can't take the country out of Post Malone, and here we are, at the crossroads with the modern day musical chameleon and this latest album. I will say it's quite the surprise to hear this record. There is certainly a lot of eyebrow raising moments in music, but this here takes the cake. I don't mean this in a bad way. In fact, musically the record seems to be a half decent effort, with certain tracks being not too bad, but I am unsure if that's because of the guest spots or not. Now, one of the first things that you will notice about this record is the sheer volume of guest musicians, which include but are not limited to Hank Williams Jr., Tim McGraw, Dolly Parton, Jelly Roll, and Chris Stapleton. This is a bold lineup of talent and can easily become a massive mess in the mix, especially when you are blending several styles present on any record that does the same without retaining any kind of focus really. This effort seems to be playing it loose and fast with the revolving door of vocalists and manages to retain an undertow of musicianship throughout the album's runtime. It's actually quite the feat, but in the same vein it is somewhat repetitive in areas. As a somewhat outside observer to the genre, I can confirm all these tracks sound pretty much the same, just with different vocalists. One of the more intriguing aspects undoubtedly following this record is going to be the fans' reaction regarding listening to this album, and one that I imagine that will be very polarizing, especially if they're only taking a liking to his earlier works. I'm certainly not a big fan of Post Malone, but when someone was playing this album, it caught me by surprise, as it wasn't the type of music he would listen to, and I had to ask, hey, why are you listening to Hank Williams at 9 AM on a Friday morning?
That ain't no Hank Williams song.
Even I doubted myself when I heard this record, and linking it to the man himself. One of the songs that I like was the tune Hide My Gun, which has some great lines in it, but I can't tell if it's meant to be taken seriously or not.
Would you hide my gun? Would you tell no one? Would you back and never coming back again?
I'm getting Insane Clown Posse Magnets How Do They Work vibes right here, and I bet this song trends in TikTok in some meme form. There is no way these dumb lyrics are meant to be taken in any genuine matter. For example, in the song Mexico, it talks about a mobster's girlfriend busting in the door with an AK-47 to stop a wedding, and later on getting caught with a suitcase full of cocaine. But then it follows up with another track that is a sobering piece called Yours, which addresses how eventually he knows his little girl will grow up one day and he will have to walk her down the aisle, stating, one day I'll give her away, but that doesn't mean she's all yours. It's a very profound song and is so far removed from the previous two tracks that I mentioned, and you might be surprised to hear that they are 3 of the last 4 songs off this album. Where do you get off on making me cry with laughter to then making me cry about reality? Damn. I'd say this record was a complete 180, but that would find him back in the metal scene. Instead, it's a musical equivalent of the Australian women's breakdancing team. A debacle, a charade, a sight we can't stop talking about. There is no doubt in my mind this album will be ignored by the majority of fans. However, I believe he will also see a slew of new ones who appreciate this style of music, as this album does come across as a very pedestrian country sounding effort. Overall, I'll give this album a score of 3 million chilies on the spicy scale, with my favourite track being Yours. I've previously stated I'm certainly not a huge fan of this musician, but what music I have listened to, I certainly did thoroughly enjoy. Instead, what we have on this effort feels like a contrived puddle of piss poor efforts with weird lyrics alluding to wild antics, but without the fun found on previous works of his. And I'll chalk this up to the genre of music itself that he is tackling on this album. Maybe this is baby steps for the musician and he might continue down this path. Maybe he will learn and adapt for future records, or perhaps he will find this album as a one and done situation. It has done its bit and then he will go back to being a guest vocalist on various other works. Who knows when it comes to Post Malone, but I'd say this is a teething issue he needs to resolve quickly. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to us, and stay notified for future music related content, because it keeps our manager happy at the end of the day. We are also on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and all those other social platforms if you want to check us out. As always, people, you have a great day and stay spicy.